Running. It's the second most natural mode of propulsion known to human beings, after walking of course. So just like walking, it should feel natural and effortless. And if you see children running, you will actually see this. Even though their muscular and cardiovascular systems haven't completely matured yet, there's this almost effortless, carefree way that they run. But interestingly, if you were to randomly select, let's say 100 adults and ask them to run a certain distance, you'll find quite the opposite, which is perhaps 10 out of those 100 will have the same effortless way of running, while the other 90 will seem to strain or struggle in varying degrees. So there's a little bit of physiology that most of us seem to miss, and once that is in place, running will get back to being, well, effortless. And let me bring back that point about children, how they run with this carefree abandon. Almost makes you instinctively want to call out, easy, you might fall. And in that statement lies a clue to effortless running. So let's get started with one fundamental thing. When you run, the foot that steps should land on the ball of your foot. What that means is, if this is the sole of your foot, let's assume that these are the toes of your foot, not a great illustration, but where the big toe ends, you'll find that there is a bony ball-like area that's called the ball of your foot, and that essentially should be where your foot impacts the ground. So if you were to look at it from the side and this was the ground, it would first be the ball of the foot and then your heel would touch a split second later, and that is what maximizes the ability of the body to absorb the impact. On the other hand, if your heel were to impact, you will immediately feel the entire shock transmit upwards through your bones, and that is what is going to transmit up your legs and cause injury in future. Right? So, non-negotiable, always land on the ball of your foot. Let's now build the technique of running. So if I were to turn sideways and say I need you to move in this direction, but by using the minimum amount of energy possible or the minimum amount of force of your own muscles. Now what most people would end up doing is something like this. But here's the problem, you still have pushed off. So instead, let me give you another option. Again, you turn sideways, you just start to lean, 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 and at some point you will start to fall over and you have to put a foot in front. So obviously you don't fall down. One important thing, I am still landing on the ball of my foot as explained previously. So now I have moved in a different way. I have barely used muscles, I have used the entire weight of my body and gravity and combined the two of them to move in a certain direction. Let me demonstrate again. So lean, land. That's it. What do I do after this? With the back leg, again, the last thing you want to do is apply force, and most people tend to push this backwards. No, all you want to do is kick that heel towards your butt, which is this way. And what do you do after that? You continue falling in front. On the ball of your foot again, kick back, and so on. That essentially is running. All you're trying to do is fall forward, put one foot in front, get the other foot out of the way, and continue falling forward and repeat. So let's start by admiring this effortless running technique of this fine specimen of a human being. So what we are beginning with is taking a look at the point of impact. So for now, just focus on the feet and exactly how they land. If I proceed further, it's my right foot that is coming down to impact the ground, and you'll see it hit the ball of the foot first and the heel quickly follows. Let's follow again. I'll slow it down a bit. There, that's the ball of the foot and the heel quickly followed. And finally, the last step, right there. Now, let me forward a couple of frames and freeze here. And you're going to notice something. I'm leaning forward. Throughout this entire step, you'll find the same thing where I'm constantly leaning forward, and all I'm doing is falling forward into the next step. Right? Let's come to the third point, which is essentially what is happening with the back leg. And you'll already see that the heel of the back leg is right near my butt. Let's move into the next step. So now my right leg leaves the ground, and instead of pushing backwards, my right heel starts to kick towards my butt immediately. There. Now my left leg will do the same as soon as it leaves the ground. Kick back, there, and so on. keep an eye on where my head is with respect to the ground. What you're going to notice is my head pretty much remains horizontal. There is not a lot of vertical movement as I'm stepping. So I'm essentially doing two things. A, I'm being as efficient as possible in terms of my running because all of the energy is being used for horizontal movement and very little for vertical movement. There are a lot of people who seem to make this mistake of trying to have a very bouncy action during running because they feel it feels lighter, but essentially you're just wasting a lot of energy. The other reason you're trying to stay low is because the higher you go, the higher are the amount of forces that your body have to bear when you land back on the ground. So at the end of the day, effortless running is just a bunch of a few simple physiological concepts. Fall forward using your body weight, step to make sure you don't fall over, get the other leg out of the way, continue. So give this a try and let me know what you think. You might just be surprised to find that it seems you can run forever effortlessly. But I will leave you with a few caveats. Attempt this on a ground or a grassy field, not on a treadmill. What you don't want is a machine generating the propulsion for you because you're trying to train your body to learn the art of running. Always warm up and stretch before you do this. And finally, the third, yes, it might seem very easy, but take your time to build the distance and speed in terms of your running. And finally, get back to running with joy and abandon. Until next time.